Specifically tonight, what do you think happened? Is this a culmination of everything, or?
Yeah, I say it's a combination. Didn't hit shots when we needed to. Defensive end, second half wise, wasn't what we did in the first half. And, we're seeing that, and now it's time for players to look at themselves and see what we can do to get better.
In the second half, what do you think caused some of those defensive breakdowns that weren't really occurring in the first half?
Just the flow of the game. I mean, as a team, we mentally have to stay in it no matter what. Whether we're on a run, whether a shot went in, I think that's what it is. Guys sometimes get into themselves when shots don't fall. But we got to push through that and make sure that just because ours aren't falling, then we got to go play some defense.
But offensively, this is the worst, game shooting-wise you guys have had all year. Just what wasn't clicking? What was going wrong on the court?
I mean, at the end of the day, we got to make shots. Pretty simple. I mean, we have open looks, shots we normally make. We just got to make them.
I guess when you hit that three to send it in overtime, what was kind of the mood of the team maybe going into the overtime? Just did you feel like you maybe had the momentum at that point?
I mean, we have new life. That's what we thought. I mean, of course, anytime you hit a shot going to overtime, when we played as bad defensively as we played in the second half, I mean, that was just a blessing. We just have to figure out how to just finish games, and we have to figure out how to just execute down the stretch. We're not doing a good job of executing right now. We need to look in the mirror and just see what each individual is doing wrong, because we need to come together and be better.
Aaron, just what do you think is missing right now? You've talked about, in the offseason, this team felt like it was together, all those things. What do you think is just missing?
I mean, you can sit here and analyze, from the outside, what's missing. Really, it's just guys, whatever your role is, you got to do it better. Maybe guys think they're doing it enough. Coach challenged me this week. I'm happy he did that. But that comes from everybody. We got to learn not to take it personal. We have to step up to the plate. This is Big Ten college basketball. Whatever you think you're giving, give more.
This for either of you, but you mentioned the mental lapses. What do you think it's going to take for this team to maybe overcome those lapses and play just a complete 40 minutes?
We good. We together. At the end of the day, we don't. We gotta just stay together. We lost the game, but we a tight knit group. Like, we don't let any of the outsiders or nothing influence us. We together, so we got to get better together. I mean, the Warriors, they playing bad. Boston went through a stretch of this season where they didn't play good. That's what happened with good teams. Like, it don't just come with you can't just win. You got to learn how to win, and then also you got to be able to take losses to be able to win.
Aaron, in the overtime, you and DeMonte were kind of both playing either the 4 or the 5. And when you have that lineup on the court, what's important for you guys, maybe when you're going to give up some size?
Definitely just executing. Coach told us early on, he likes to do that, so it might happen. Just expect it. No, we got to rebound. We got to communicate even more. A lot of guys say, like, oh, why are short people, playing 4 or 5? That doesn't matter in our system. You just got to buckle down, rebound, make the extra play, and keep playing.
What impact did Georgie and Kipper not being able to play in overtime kind of have on your guys' just offensive and defensive flow?
Definitely a lot of impact. They're a big part of our team. Not having them, definitely hurt. But it's next man up.
Aaron, what do you tell these guys about what's coming up? 18 straight Big Ten games.
You can tell them all you want, but you really won't know until you go through it. And so, you just, like I said, give more. I wish I could tell them something that would help. I could tell them something that would help. But other than that, you got to go through it and you got to stick together.
Is there one thing that you think you guys are missing, whether it be offense, defense, shooting, rebounding, free throws? Is there one thing that you think that's preventing you guys from getting over the hump?
I'm not going to say one thing. Just a reality check. Maybe Maybe we're too full of ourselves. You know, we thinking like, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. You know, maybe we got to just be invested into the team more. And I'm going to preach that, you know, going into Big Ten play, because, you know, it's a long journey. A lot of people will probably be freaking out right now, but that's not what we do. We stick together and we play on.
I mean, I don't think so either. We shot 27 for 76, 24 for 76 from the field, and then we shot 9 for 38 from 3. And we lost by what, 3? Lost by 2. So then there's nothing you miss. We got to make shots. If we make shots, we wouldn't be here having this conversation. We would won. So at the end of the day, that's all it is, make shots.
They deserve to win the game. They were much better coached. They were much better prepared. And they played much harder than we did. And that's pretty evident with 19 missed layups and getting out rebounded like we did. So a ton of credit to FAU.
Questions?
Brad, I know you'll probably focus defensively a lot, but offensively, was this just missed shots, or was this, what issues did you see offensively to where missing so many shots?
Well, 9 of 31 in the first half, 14%. And you're up 6. You're up 6. And then we turn around and go 4 of 17 from the 3 with 12 missed layups. You know, it's like I told our team at halftime. I said I felt great at half. I was hoping this could become an identity game for us. I talked at halftime about NCAA tournament game I was in with Utah. We shot 31%. Score was 52-50 with 42 seconds to go. And we had a wide open 3 to win it, to take the lead. I wanted this to be that game. I wanted this to be the identity, to go out the second half and guard like we did. We had 19 deflections at half. We had 4 the second. And look at their percentage. Missed shots, yeah, we had a chance to blow it open early. But those didn't go, and those happen in the game. Missed shots happen. Missed layups. I felt great about our shots. There were 2 or 3 bad ones in there. But you know, we got to get Kipper going. You know, Kipper got good looks, and I think he's 0 for his last 15 or 16 from 3. And he's a good shooter. But right now that thing's not close, and he's a good shooter. So, but yeah, when you don't, and we're immature. When the ball doesn't go in, that affects us at the other end. And that's, again, something we talked about at halftime a lot.
Coach Io was obviously really good today. He's had some great individual games as well through the first part of the season. Trent's had some really great individual games, but it seems like those two haven't been able to put 2 performances together in the same game. Any thoughts on how to get them to mesh a little bit better when they?
Yeah, that's something we're continuing to work on. I mean, it starts with our assist totals, and our assist totals are very low. And again, we're not dwelling on it, but we're working on it. And the one thing is, it can't be the way it is right now. Our assist totals can't be at 6 like they were in the Missouri game, 10. Everything I'm predicated and wanted about is passing the ball and moving it. And you know, like I have no problems with the last play. We ran just a little 4-up for Io. He drives it, makes a great pass, and we get a wide open 3 in the corner. And those are the type of plays that you have to have. In our spread, we're over dribbling, and you know, that's been a point of contention with a lot of what we're doing is we over dribble instead of pass it.
Maybe when you were wanting this to be an identity game and then it doesn't turn out that way, what kind of impact or effect does that have?
I don't know. We're going to find out. So we're going to talk about being being real, it can't be all feel good. Basketball doesn't work that way. It's not about just feeling good. It's not feeling good when the ball goes in and we're all excited and rah. That's fake stuff. That's not real. And that's, we all know that's not life either. So it's when things get difficult. Who are you going to be? Look yourself in the mirror and who are you going to be? And I'm frustrated. I thought we had a great practice yesterday. Day before we weren't very good, and yet we got to continue to grow in those areas.
What do you account to those second half struggles defensively? Was it effort, FAU adjustments, or?
Well, I mean, our effort's okay, but it's not very smart. And then it comes back to fouling 4 times at the half-court line and just, I mean, our senior. I mean, AJ, we keep talking to him about not reaching, not doing that, and it's controlling your emotion. And, you know, Dre commits one. Georgie commits one. You know, in non-scoring areas, you know, we talk about not accepting a block out and running around him so you don't get an offensive foul over the back. Kipper just shoves the kid. You know, and it's everybody. And it's just not it's things we've got to grow out of and we've got to learn from, because they hurt you. You go to the line 18 times in the second half, it's hard to win games.
Coach, it looks like early in the first half, Trent was deferring to get his teammates open because he had a big game against Missouri. Was that by design, or he just was getting rid of the basketball, or he just didn't get looks? No, I think Trent's working really hard to be a really good teammate. And I think that you know, we talked about, you know, we've got to have balance. In a perfect world, I want 5 guys in double figures, or at least. And because we don't pass and we over dribble, then it becomes a problem. And you know, we need to be a really good passing team to get AJ, to get Kipper, to get guys shots like that, and to create those opportunities. And it translates to a game. And today was a perfect example. They played zone the most entirely the second half. That's what you got to do, is pass. And yet we stood up there and dribbled the ball excessively. So we've got to find that. And again, we're just going to keep working on it.
Back of the room.
Coach, you guys really struggled on the glass all night. What was the biggest issue you saw there?
Effort, want to, desire. Had a goal, set a goal before the game, +6 or better. Okay, and along with 35 deflections, and along with 16 plus assists. Whew. I mean, we just, you know, and Allen gave us a spark. He kept it close in the first half. On the glass, he had 5 rebounds in about 4.5, 5 minutes. But you know, we get nothing out of our front court for the most part in the early parts of the game, and they scored 6 points in the first media timeout on the offensive glass, and that's just effort.
I was going to ask you about Allen, because it seemed like he came out looking to rebound, maybe. Just what wasn't sustainable with that maybe in the second half?
That's what he does. I mean, he's a very aggressive rebounder, and then he's probably our best offensive rebounder. And I was hoping that would become contagious for everybody. But, you know, guys that did that last year for us in terms of veterans aren't doing that. And, you know, then Georgie doesn't. It's not a strength of his yet.
Brad, the 2 places you've been before, players seem to respond to you right away, and they picked it up right away. What's different here so far?
Oh, I mean, I guess I've thought about it a little bit. I don't know if there's a specific you know, we've had probably more senior veteran. You know, if I had to pinpoint one thing, and guys have had success. I mean, SFA was a winning program. They had won 28 games a year. We were 27 the year before I got there. You know, Oklahoma State had 2 seniors who'd been to the Final Four, or been to the NCAA tournament. Excuse me. And we just had to kind of mold it together, and we're doing that. I knew this was going to be some growing pains, and we're young. We weren't playing a handful of freshmen like we are this year, and that's part of the process of growing. And you got to go through those and hit those speed bumps. Today doesn't make me very happy, but there's got to be growth. There's got to be continued commitment on and off the court from athletes and players. And I'm a big believer. I preach it every day. Do the right things off the court. Do the right things on the court, and they'll happen. And so we got to continue to grow, and we're going to do that. I like this team. I like the things that we can be capable of. Right now, today, we got whipped. And it was effort-based, and that's really frustrating for me.
Brad, did you plan to shoot that many threes? Was that a game plan, or do you feel like they settled a little bit?
The whole plan was to go inside to Georgie and get Georgie about 15 touches. And that's all we talked about. And we knew they were going to play zone, and that would become a little more difficult. But the one thing that I like is I like threes in transition. And a lot of our threes were uncontested. I think DeMonte took one bad one, and Kipper took one that I would probably question in the first half. But, we've all seen Trent make those. We've all seen AJ make those. And those are shots that we practice, so we're going to continue to shoot that. But, as we grow, we've got to get Georgie the basketball. And it gets hard when he's in foul trouble. And he's proven he can score against good defenders. And we just didn't do a very good job of that today.
Coach, when you talk about over-dribbling, how much of that is, them processing what you want to do too slowly, or is that freelancing? What do you see with that?
I don't think it's as much freelancing as I think that it's how the game has to be played. And I'm going to use a great example. I watched TCU. There's not many games on over Christmas, and they averaged 21 assists a game. And yet I know that team really well because when they were young, and I was at Oklahoma State, we played that team. And that's what they did, was they dribbled. And now they average 21 assists a game, and they had the guy who leads the country in assists. And so it's part of its processing. We want guys to do that quicker. When we move the ball, we're pretty good. When we over dribble, we have nights like we had at Missouri, and we have nights like we had today.
Brad, we've talked in the past about just being a process, and you even mentioned it there, but how tough is this to lose a home game in a non-conference game like this heading into the Big Ten season?
Yeah, first one I've done. First one I've ever had. I take a lot of pride in not losing games that you should win. I take a lot of pride in that. It stings. And I'm not detracting from FAU at all. They're a good basketball team. They played hard. They deserve to win. But if that's not a wake-up call for our guys, then I don't know if that's got to be an important. Shouldn't lose games like that at home.